Hey guys, welcome to Not So Random Chat, the nighttime live stream where we talk about whatever we want to. So, settle in and grab your libation. It could be your wine or tea or coffee or whatever you want to drink. And let's just sit back and chill. I'll be with you in a moment. Are you guys ready? Okay, well, so am I. So let's get into it. Here I come. Hola, from the west side. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday. Let me get closer to the mic. All right, let me see. Testing. Let me see if that's better. Yeah, that's better. I don't sound like I'm in a tunnel so much. Well, happy Wednesday. Everybody has been having a good week. I have actually been at a leadership conference for the last couple of days. And let me just do this. All right. I got to turn it down on my phone. So it's not so loud. I had to make sure that you guys can hear me. Especially the replay crew, because that's where most of my folks are. The replay crew, because I come on so daggone late at night for y'all on the East Coast. It's still early here on the West Coast, but yeah, on the East Coast. So, one of the things that we talked about at this leadership conference was the division between people who are choosing to vote and people who are choosing not to vote, even to the expense of their employment. Oh, thank you so much, Mocha Mama. Hey, sis. And the interesting thing is that a lot of people, I'll just say, most of the people that listen to my chat know that I have a relationship with the Most High, okay? So it's not even about being religious. But when you look at the quote-unquote Christians, or the people who call themselves Christians, there is a huge divide between the people who vote and those who aren't voting. And some of the people who aren't voting feel that the people who are voting have no faith. decision, but the division is what I see is where there's going to start to be a problem, because we're starting to see more and more people are having to prove that they voted. But did you guys know that the legislators, you know, your congressmen, your senators, that they are exempt? They don't have to vote because they are considered congressional officers, constitutional officers. But then we have to think about the fact, is being forced to vote violating your rights as a citizen? Some people think so. Um, I'm sure, unless you were under a rock, you heard about the In and Out situation in Texas. And you heard about the statement from the In and Out Corporation stating that they did not feel that a private corporation should be policing for the government. Because you have to show proof that you have voted in many restaurants now that have indoor service. And In and Out, this particular In and Out, chose not to do that. They chose not to make people show proof. And do you know that the people who are anti-voters quickly said to go out and buy up In-N-Out burgers? And I don't know if they're traded, but I'm sure if they're being traded on the stock exchange, their stock went up with those folks. So, you know, this is going to become a major issue. That's all I can say. It's going to become a major issue. Because kids are being forced to vote if they want to go to school. And, they're trying to get to the point where infants will be voting. So, and I think, the sad thing is, I can't discuss things, certain things on my YouTube channel. And that's simply because you have to just watch what you say in regards to the voting issue. So I'm going to move on to the next subject. I may come back to that. I I I may exercise my prerogative to come back to it later, but for right now, I'm going to move on. So they're now starting the trial for the killing of Ahmad. You guys remember the young man who was jogging in Georgia and was shot down because he was quote unquote suspected of, trying to rob a construction site in the area, and there's no evidence that there was anybody bothering that construction area. But they're now starting the trial and they're doing the jury selection and all this stuff. And people are wondering if it's going to be a fair trial. Because, I hate to say this, but why did it take so long for this to come to trial when this young man was murdered before the George Floyd incident happened?
This happened months before that. Months before that. And, my concern is that people are not going to be paying attention, that the focus is not going to be on justice for Ahmaud, like there was justice for George Floyd, you know, and his mother is very heavily involved. But I urge people to please stay, abreast of what's going on with that, because now that, you know, it's 2021 and we're in a different time as far as, you know, how far removed we are from 2020 and what happened in 2020 globally because of Mr. Floyd's killing. I don't want this other man's family to not get justice for his wrongful death. You know, and because his skin is because he's a black man. You know, that's what my concern is. That's what my concern is. You know, that young man was in the same age range as my son. My son will be 26 next week. Hey, AKA James, talking about the case for the murder of Ahmaud in Georgia. It's finally going to trial after the George Floyd trial has been all said and done. I'm just hoping that now that we're at this time where everything is all opened back up completely and everything pretty much, that there's not going to be a defocus on what's going on in Georgia in regards to this young man. You know, and he was in his 20s. My son will be 26 at the end of this month. I think this young man was like around 26. Killed in the prime of his life. And no disrespect to what happened with the George Floyd case, but this is a young man who had not even had a chance to fully live his life. At least Mr. Floyd had lived some life. I don't even think this young man had the chance to, have children. None of that happened for him. So let's just pray that things go right with the Ahmaud situation, because I'm telling you guys, now that everything is back open and people are back to business as usual, the crime levels are the same, or have gone back to, if not higher than they were pre 2020. We need to pray that if the outcome is not a just outcome for this young man, that they don't lose their minds. Because you just do not know, especially in a southern state. Sorry, not sorry. Especially in a southern state. You know, and I don't know if was in the Atlanta area, or in the suburbs, Decatur. I don't know where it was. I'm not that is geographically familiar with everything in Georgia. Although I have family there and I've you know visited there, I've never actually lived there. My brother, however, does live in in Georgia, and has for, geez, over 10 years. Over 10 years. It was my niece, I believe, is a teenager. So he's been living in Georgia since before my niece was even born. So yeah, I would say that if things don't go well, you know, it's going to be scary. You know, I don't know if a whole lot of people are paying attention to what's going on over there. It is making the national news, but you know, we our attention is so short. You know, I bet a lot of people probably forgot about this young man already, and he hasn't even gone to trial. But of course, I'm sure that's what the prosecution and I mean, not the prosecution, the defense and the defendants are hoping. So I really hope that the prosecution does their job. You know, it's sad that in this case as well as with the George Floyd case, there was people had to push for this to happen. That's the sad part, you know. And sadly, if attention had been given to this when this happened prior to George Floyd, there may not have been a George Floyd. But because this was the South, and Ahmaud was a dark skinned black man, you know, it still didn't get as much attention as it should have, you know, after the national attention was on George Floyd. But I told you guys when that happened that, you know, we didn't know what that was going to do in regards to pushing these other cases. And you see, it is what? Almost November? It's almost November of 2021, which means that Ahmaud, who was murdered in February of 2020, it's been over a year. It's almost 2 years, you guys. It's been almost 2 years because it's November almost. In 2 more months, you know, 3 more months, it's going to be the 2 year anniversary of his death. So this was not a speedy trial, not at all, not at all. And you know, sad as it is, although a lot, you know, could be, you know, made out of the fact that in the 2020 election, Georgia was a blue state. But please, let's not get it twisted. That state still has a Republican governor, and most of the higher officials in that state are part of the Republican Party. And then there's a lot of the good old boys going on down there. You know, so I just don't know if, you know, I guess we have to see who the jury is. And, you know, and are they going to put, you know, attention on this like they did George Floyd? Probably not. But I hope that it at least, you know, gets attention so that we can see it. You know what I'm saying? you know, I don't think that those people in Georgia will be able to handle a not guilty verdict. I'm just saying, I don't think they're going to be able to handle it. You guys have seen the things that have been going on down there. I mean, have been going on down there. So it's 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 a crazy situation. So just gotta pray about that one. Hope that it's going to go the right way. All right. So now there's some other stuff. I am still trying to catch up on all of this YT stuff going on. So much stuff going on. So much stuff. And the crazy thing is that people are still doing all this stupid stuff behind the scenes, and then they get on the platform and they act like they're mad at each other, but they're not. It's all a game. It's all a freaking game. You know what y'all call them, fake beefs? Yeah, all over the place. Some of them are real, but they're not. There are a few that are not, and some of them are just so that people have content. Like how a bunch of folks over in the beat sector of the black sector, of the black content creators or channels or whatever you want to call them, because we all know that not everyone is really truly doing content, but of the folk over there, you know, there's several folk who try to say that they were in the part of YouTube that I'm in, but nobody claimed them over here. That's why it's just best be yourself, be solo dolo, and do what you're gonna do, and go where you want to go. I got you. But now we have people dragging. What's that girl's name? You know, oh, the girl that added diva to her name. Clyde Diva. Yeah, that girl. And I mean, they are really dragging her. And here's the thing, and I said this in someone's chat. I said this in somebody's chat. I said, look, you guys, if this chick would just leave the parties alone that she keeps talking about, making her content, that they leave her alone. But see, that's not going to happen because the whole situation is like she's pressed for attention, in my opinion. Pressed for attention. Because let's be real, you guys. Most most of us, at least, I can speak in past tense because I'm not in my 40s, but when I was in my 40s or in my late 30s, going into my 40s, it would have never occurred to me to get up on this platform in my underwear. Even if I had a banging body, which I did. Wouldn't do it. You know? But maybe that's because I don't need YouTube to pay my bills. YouTube is another stream of income for me that I'm building up gradually, organically. And I know there's, people that get thousands and thousands of views for trash content. But can you maintain that content? Considering that your trash content is based on other channels, other people on the platform. It's like, What if they stop doing the stuff that they're doing? Then what are you going to do? Are you going to have content? I don't know. And then the other person, Lord, let me just try to say this and be nice. Just been at a leadership conference. Let me be nice. So then you have the other person, the senior citizen, like myself, because I don't have a problem with being a senior citizen, you know, but I'm not on here being messy. But grown folks continues to do stuff and continues to get into it with the folk over there. But I guess, he needs content, they need content. So they're making each other eat the content, right? Maybe that's it. You know. Or, you know, you've got the group of people who are still mad about something from 2 years ago. And they're still talking about it. Still talking about it. But it happened 2 years ago. Haven't you moved on? Don't you still, isn't your life still going on? I mean, we've had a lockdown. We've come out of it. People are beginning to travel again. People are beginning to go out again. I'm still a little scared about that, but I've done. I've, I can count on one hand how many times I've been out. Yeah, I actually can count it on two fingers. On two fingers. On two fingers. You know, and that's just because you know, even with us, the quote unquote regulations in the part of the country that I'm in, as we you can see, what that doesn't make any difference because we saw, rest in peace, Colin Powell, who had voted, was fully voted, and he's not here. So there's really nothing that's 100% whether you vote or not. But I just tell people to be responsible with whatever decision that you make and be ready for whatever consequences, if there are, in your decision. Be ready, you know, if if you are someone who has religious reasons for not voting and your employer doesn't give a good god dang on about it, and you have to make a decision, and you make the decision to not vote, and you terminate yourself, so to speak, then I would assume that you really have trust that God is going to continue to take care of you with no job. I'm, and that's it. And I'm not in that situation, so I don't know how people, you know, feel that are having to make that hard decision. But what I am saying is that if you are in that situation, make sure you have your ducks in a row for if you have to suffer the consequences. But I feel, I feel that they're trying to make it a mandate without making it a mandate by forcing companies to do it, private industry to do it, and state governments to do it, so that the federal government doesn't have to do it. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. You know, I know people who are having to make that decision. I don't know how they're feeling. I know people who are making the decision that they're not going to vote. I know people that have made the decision that if they are going to vote, you've got people who have compromised immune systems that can't vote. All of that is in play. And, you know, my personal opinion is that this is probably going to get litigated all the way up to the Supreme Court by some people and some organizations. That's what I feel. That's what I think is going to happen. Matter of fact, I think it may already be happening. It may be already in process. Just because of some things that I heard or and read between the lines of someone at the conference that I was at. They didn't say anything, but it's what they didn't say that leads me to believe this. Because they are a constitutional officer. And a lot of people fall under that. It's not just your legislators, it's your judges that also fall under that, state and federal. And, I have to wonder if also all these governors that are mandating voting, if they themselves are exempt. That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. It would not surprise me one bit. But just know that all the people that are representatives from every state in the Senate and in the House of Representatives are exempt from any of these mandates. It doesn't affect them. All the judges sitting up on the benches doesn't affect them. Tell me, doesn't affect any of them. They're exempt. Exempt. Don't believe me? Go look it up. Go look it up. Go look it up. That's why they don't care whether it's mandated or not, because it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect them one way or the other. And there's a lot of people who are on the fence. There's a lot of people who are on the fence about doing one or the other. But you've got to make a decision. I just feel, and be responsible in your decisions. I think that people who are in families, it needs to be a family decision. I know that this is splitting up families. This is splitting up families. Half the family is voting, the other half of the family is not voting. You know, and then how do you move forward? And when you're around each other, and what are the protocols? What are the protocols? But I think this is just my opinion that the reason that they're talking about the double voting, the booster voting, whatever you want to call it, is because somebody knew that that's what it was going to be, but they didn't want to put it out that way because they just didn't. And it's like we're getting the information gradually as you're seeing, because we're not knowing everything, but you're having people who voted and they still aren't here now because of what they voted for against. And I know I'm saying it in a roundabout way, but this is YouTube, and I will be following and adhering to YouTube standards and guidelines, community guidelines, and all my talking points, all of them. I'm not going to be on here much longer. I've been on here for almost 40 minutes. Um, I am working on the next daily thoughts. Hopefully, you guys have had a chance to look at the last daily thoughts that I put up on lupus. Sorry it took so long, but I'm having some issues with um, one of the softwares that I use for my editing, and yeah, I'm having some issues. So, depending on if I'm actually able to get that issue resolved, that will determine if my daily thoughts get out tonight or if it doesn't get out until tomorrow. My next daily thoughts is probably going is well, not probably going to be is on um breast cancer and breast cancer awareness, because we're almost at the end of October, and just as October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, since I touched on the DV awareness on my Coffee Talk series, I'm going to do my daily thought in regards to breast cancer awareness and breast cancer, because there's, although there are few men who are, hey, TP, who sent you? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for coming. Although, when we think of breast cancer, we generally think of it as something that women get. Men can also get breast cancer. It's not as um, common, but men can also get it. You know, especially if they've got fatty tissue in that area. It's yeah, it's not. Although it is primarily something that women get, men can get it too. So yes, I'm going to put that up as soon as I can get my freaking video fit together, so I can put the voiceover on it, because I can't put the voiceover if I don't have the video footage. Because I don't know how many people use Canva, but I've been having some issues for the last day on the Canva platform, but it's only happened so far on my phone, which is where I create my, videos. So I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out, you guys. So look for that to come out in the next day. Um, I will. have some. I have some things that will be coming up that I will be disclosing to you guys probably within the next 2 weeks. But everything's not, well, everything's final, but I don't want to say anything until it's done. So once that's done, um, it'll be great, and I'll be able to unveil some things shortly thereafter, um, in regards to things that you guys will be able to see on my channel. So I'm working on it. I'm also working on putting together um, a couple of like little mini, I guess, platform discussions with some other content creators who also happen to be autism moms who don't necessarily talk about autism on their platform, and people have who may be grandmothers of children on the spectrum as well, and who also don't necessarily talk about it, but just to talk about what people that are involved in our kids' lives, what we do outside of taking care of our children and adult children on the autism spectrum. So it'll be, that one's coming up. I've been trying to plan it, and because some other things have come up outside of YouTube, I've had to push that back. But I think that I'm going to be able to do that in the month of November. So I'm going to be contacting the ladies that I want to be involved with that. Um, well, I've already reached out to once, and they said they would do it. So I'm just going to be re-reaching out to them so that we can get that done. And I'm really excited about it because I am, almost coming up on my year anniversary of being monetized. I did get my monetization during the year 2020. So I'm really going to be busting out some stuff because I need to keep my watch hours up, y'all. So if you've missed anything, or if you want to, or if you got some time on your hand, feel free to watch any of my multiple playlists to help me make sure that we have these watch hours. So that's also what I'm going to be working on, making sure. So I may do some re-releases of some stuff to get it back out there. Maybe re-edit and put some things out or put some updates out. Like I really want to put out an update on what the situation is as far as autism awareness is on the continent of Africa. I'm going to do some research so that I can do an update because I'm hoping that it's in a more positive light than it was the last time I talked about it. And yeah, got a lot of stuff coming up. Um, and I'm just excited about that. Gonna have like new settings. I'm almost to the point where I can get my new computer, and that will be wonderful because once I do that, then I will be able to exercise my green screen options, on my various platforms, on the various OBS systems. And even if I'm, just coming straight into YouTube, you know, through my mobile. But anyway, you guys, I am about to get off of here. I've been on here for about 45 minutes. I will be back on Friday. I know it wasn't an hour tonight, but that conference that I was at was really, took a couple days. If you're coming in, come on in. Y'all know David got to come in here and say hi to y'all. All right, let me back up. All right, pull my hair down so I don't look so crazy. All right, say hi. You gotta stoop down. They can't see you. Look at the camera. Say hi. Look. Your head up like this, like mommy's. All right, you don't want to say hi. That's it. That's all they get. Okay. Okay. And that's all y'all get. And he never wants to look directly at you guys. I don't know why, but it's about that time. Let me just get everything together. All right, you guys. Thank you to those who've come through, popped through. Thank you to y'all who are on the replay crew. And if you made it to the end of this on the replay crew, put a little heart in the comment section. So I know that you made it to the end. Did you actually listen to all 45 minutes of me rambling? Anyway, but I'll see you guys on Friday. Until then, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. And let me get this outro together for you guys. And I'm out of here. Peace.
Well, guys, that's it for tonight's Not So Random Chat. But I'll see you guys the next time. Until then, peace and blessings from the West Side. I'm out.